All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I think we are already live. We're on. Let me check. We already have our guest on board. He's ready. And let me check now if we are already online in our Facebook page. Let me just double check. Just give me a few seconds, Doc. Check ko lang kung make sure na naka-online na tayo sa Facebook natin, ha?
Okay, okay.
Okay naman yung volume natin dyan, loud and clear.
Clear now.
Alright, so ayun, nakikita ko na tayo ay online. I will share it so that you can see.
Okay.
Okay. Ayan, na-send ko na sa Messenger, Doc, para makita mo. We are already live, so you can actually share that link now. Did you see it?
Wait lang. Sa Messenger? Or Viber?
Yes.
Messenger.
Messenger.
Wait, where is that? Sorry. Messenger.
Okay.
Sige.
Yeah, just send that link to your friends and family so you can already start viewing that. So anyway, we would like to welcome and introduce our guest for today. Our guest for today, okay, our guest for today is a very important person because one, he is a frontliner. Remember nowadays, during these times, our frontliners are not just simply the people in the groceries, the people in the counter, security guards, but more importantly, he is a frontliner because he's part of the medical or the health worker field or industry, and he is a practicing doctor. As a matter of fact, he's a very good classmate, but that does not make me a doctor. Okay, he's a member of the Manila East Hospital. This is located in Taytay Rizal. He's member of the infection control, and he also is connected with the hospital in Pasig. It's Tri-City, also handling infection control. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome this afternoon on a very important day, Dr. Joseph Macalla.
Thank you for having me, Econ. He's my buddy since preschool.
Since we were little.
Yeah. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Right. So, as a matter of fact, we are very happy because if you think about it, the series of discussions that we've had so far, Doc, ever since we started this webinar or online show, so to speak. As a matter of fact, we now call it Forward Pinoy. So this is technically an online show, not just a webinar, but it's now called Forward Pinoy. Together with me is one of the very important persons in the HR field. His name is George Ramos. He's an organizational development and business transformation consultant. Although he's a little bit late, but he's trying to join us. I'm sure he's already going to be there within the next few minutes. And this is very important because we are going to be talking about something that is very important nowadays, and it's about what is currently happening now, which is what we call, hold on, okay, yeah. So this is very important because we are going to be talking about something that is very important or that is prevalent as of now with what is happening. Hold on. Yeah, may medyo nagbaba, ano lang yan, there. So, we're going to be talking about, our topic today is assessing COVID-19 cures. These are only the possible or the cures or medicines that are have the potential to be able to hopefully take care of this virus. And I believe that there are certain drugs that are now being watched, so to speak, because people are now checking that this medicine I'm not so sure if it's these are antibiotic docs, but
Yeah.
let me see and let me mention to you the medicine that I was able to do a little bit of research on. I think um, these are I've heard them over the news and over people talking about these particular drugs. I believe these drugs are currently now being tested, from what I understand. Okay,
Mhm.
let me just see. Hold on. Doc, by the way, Doc, are you currently were you on duty earlier before we went on live?
No, it's right now I'm at no longer. I'm just doing my daily rounds for patients having COVID because on the in the hospitals I'm connected with, uh, it seems that we're uh, more of our patients are on the COVID side. Depending
Mm,
on, yeah, most of them are, and I do my rounds and the daily rounds to these hospitals, and I don't. When you say on duty, it's that
mm.
would be my duty. So
Yeah, so
yeah,
your duty is when you go around and
yeah.
check these hospitals for the current patients. So,
Other than that would be
mm,
the other responsibilities such as making sure that the policies are being followed, implemented, no, when it comes to your infection control, ba. Mm.
right. I believe that the following medicines that have the potential is one is called remdesivir. Are you
Yeah,
familiar with this?
it's an antiviral. We don't have this medicine currently in the Philippines. What we
Okay.
do have is hydroxychloroquine. It's
Mm.
readily available, and chloroquine. These are anti-malarial medications.
I heard
Their
yes.
yeah, their main that would be their main uh, antimicrobial
Mhm.
what you call this effect. So anti-malarials, and then we also have our lopinavir or lopinavir, ritonavir. These
Mm.
are antiretroviral agents. So we use this for HIV.
All
It's
right.
also available, but these medications have been what you call this controlled, no, of course, by our or government or BFAD, RITM, no,
Mm,
for its judicious use, no, because in our current treatment, uh, we do follow certain protocols or guidelines when treating COVID, no,
mm,
and then these are the more common ones. The another one would available is tocilizumab. It's a
mm.
400 milligram uh, medication, and but it's quite expensive, and it has its own sets of criteria when you can use it. So it's not all hydroxychloroquine. What we
Right.
see in social media, combining hydroxychloroquine with azithromycin. No, it's not
ZPAP, right?
zinc. Yeah,
This is the
it
ZPAP.
all boils down on specific patients, no? Their comorbidities. If this patient has, for example, if this patient has a severe dysrhythmia or arrhythmia, you'd
Mm.
be having second thoughts in using your azithromycin or extended quinolones. No? So, yeah.
What about this other medicine that I heard? It's called a vegan.
Oh, this is from, I think this is the one from Japan. No?
All right.
If I remember,
Is it
yeah, if I've
also
read it right. Well, they've said I'm not really privy to that, but to their claims, but they said it's quite effective. I think it's if I remember it right, that was the medicine patented by both a Japanese and a Chinese company uh,
Mm-hmm.
abroad. No, so but we do not have it here,
Okay, so this one is not available in the Philippines.
not yet.
Oh, okay. Uh, so let me go ahead and ask you, what is the current situation that is really happening right now as we speak? Again, like what you said, you just came from your rounds, your daily rounds. Um,
Sorry, come again. Come
how
again.
is it? Like what you said earlier, you just came from your rounds, your daily rounds. Um, how is it really? What's the real scenario, the current situation when you are there on the front lines, in the hospitals? What is currently happening right now?
Come again. Sorry.
What is currently happening what is currently happening in the hospitals right now, in the front lines? I mean, what is the situation? What is the atmosphere? That is something that we would like to be able to hear from a practicing frontliner.
Hello.
Yes, hello, Doc.
Yeah, sorry, sorry.
Really,
It's
yeah.
medyo choppy.
All right. So let me go ahead and ask you again. I just want you to be able to share what is currently happening out there on the field as we speak. I mean, the real scenario in the front lines of this battle that we're going through, or should I say, the health war that we're going through right now. What is currently happening? Okay, so we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty. I think the internet of our guest, our doctor, who is now currently, uh, he's just finished his shift from the hospitals. Um, he's now trying to get back into our system. So while we are here waiting for him to come back, please type in your comments or your questions so that by the time he gets back, he can find the time to be able to answer the questions that you guys might have. Remember, again, our guest is a doctor, an infectious disease expert who is currently practicing medicine and is always in the forefront of our front lines on a daily basis. So, again, not because he is a classmate, but because he is there in the front lines, I really salute him basing on what he's doing. Okay? So, we're waiting for him now to get back. I think the internet in that particular area is a little bit unstable. So, I mentioned to him that if he can transfer uh, location, get a better signal. Please again, feel free to type in your questions and comments so that we can ask our guest when he comes back. Okay. How it is, usually during these times of um, during these times, technology, sometimes even if you want to be able to rely on them 100%, there are times that you can't because, again, these are some things that are way beyond our control. Or talking about Stephen Covey's book, this is outside the circle of influence. This is only within the circle of concern for us. Okay, while we are waiting for him to rejoin us, we have, I'd like to say hi to our watchers at the moment. We have several people who are online. Uh, Gene Onchaco, one of our guests from the United States, I think last week, has joined us. Okay. Uh, and then Miss Lorna Matel Calderon, or Lorna Calderon Matel, who is part of Cavite State University. She's the VP. She's also joined. She joined and she's currently watching. We have, I think, potentially a friend of our doctor, Teresa Kagan, is saying that she's watching from Taytay Rizal. Okay, and we're just simply waiting for our guest to come back, and also one of the other guy, or shall I say, the other half of the show. We're also waiting for him, Mr. George Ramos. Okay. Um, while you guys are waiting, and while we are all waiting, by the way, I just to segue a little bit, um, I posted two requirements in the event that you guys are watching right now. We're currently looking for a training manager. There are four things that you remember, or you must remember when we're talking about we're looking for a training manager. Number one, rates are above industry standards, and we are looking at full-time positions. The location is in BGC, and this is an industry that is very highlighted at the moment. This is the healthcare industry, so it's a healthcare industry. Send me a PM on Messenger because we are really looking and we are in need of a training manager at the moment. And aside from a training manager, we are also looking for several training and development specialists. Again, reminders would be the salary package is above industry standard. The location is again in BGC. The industry is healthcare. It's a full-time position. Please send me a messenger or a PM at Facebook so that we can screen you and entertain your applications. Okay. Okay. We are still online and still waiting. Okay. For a few seconds. Hopefully he will be back. I already messaged him, by the way. I sent him a message saying that if he could drive in an area where there's a better signal, because I believe that he was parked right outside the hospital. So I just mentioned that if it's possible, so that he can move to a location where there's a better signal. Okay, so okay, one of my classmates also joined to watch. Hi, Jojo. Is a classmate from college. Okay, and. Paolo is also joining us today. And okay. Yes, thank you for the people who are currently watching right now. We had some technical difficulties. A guest and my co-host at the moment is not really missing in action, but they had technical difficulties. You know how it is with the internet. So we're just simply trying to get them back online. Okay. Again, guys, if you have questions, we have a medical practitioner, a frontliner. He is a member, okay, of the infection control in Manila East. This is located in Taytay Rizal. He's also part of the Tri-City Hospital in Pasig. He also handles infection control. So if you guys have any questions when it comes to assessing the potential cures for COVID-19 or any medical or a frontliner question, please feel free to put in or type in your comments so that we can ask him as soon as he is back. Okay, we're currently waiting for our guest to be able to join back in. Okay, I hope you are already rejoining us, Doctor. Okay, we have another guest watching or joining us right now, Philip Mabida, also another training practitioner. Welcome, Philip. We just for your sake, we recently had a technical difficulty. We lost our guest and as well as my co-host. Of course, this is all because of the internet instability in their area right now. Okay, so we're trying to troubleshoot so that they can come and rejoin as soon as possible time. So while we are waiting for our doctor to be able to join us, I would like to share with you a piece of information that he showed me earlier today. Okay. All right. So we are
Hello?
now back. Okay.
Uh,
Yes. Hi, Doc. I was. Can you hear us clearly?
Sorry.
Are you
Yes,
safe
yes.
in the Are you safe in the area? Because you obviously are not inside your car anymore, and you are not wearing a a mask, a surgical
Hello?
mask or an N95 mask. Yes. Can you hear us, Doc?
No, I'm outside. Yes,
Can
yes.
you? Yes.
It's pretty good.
Yes. Can you hear us now from where you're at? Is this?
Yes,
Are we
yes.
coming in
It's
clear?
better signal, I
Okay.
think.
All right. So, are you safe in the
Yeah.
location currently
Better.
because you are not wearing a mask or an
Yes, I
N95
am.
mask?
Yes,
Okay. Very good to
I
hear.
am. I am. No,
Okay.
nobody,
So, the,
nobody's
the
around.
yes, the last question or the first question that I asked prior to you getting disconnected was, can you tell us from the point of view of a doctor who is handling infectious diseases, who just came from his rounds, what is the real scenario? What is the atmosphere that is currently being felt all over the hospitals? And when we talk about hospitals, I'm talking about the two hospitals that you're part of. So please share with us as a medical practitioner, what's the real scenario? What is the atmosphere?
But in the two hospitals, the most common thing is, of course, they feel vulnerable. Everybody feels vulnerable, both patients and vulnerability, patients and medical practitioners, both nurses and doctors, medtechs, and what have you, all the staff. And so the
Mm-hmm.
main concern would be safety, safety by using the proper PPEs, distancing still.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they're more concerned, and this would be in the frontliners, medical's point of view, practitioner's point of view. Our safety is key, because if we're not, if we're gonna be sick, then the next concern would be who would be taking care of these patients, right? So, on the standpoint of the patients, of course, there's a lot of anxiety. Uh, they feel, rather than being vulnerable, they feel there's a doomsday scenario for them. No? So they feel like that they have it already. Uh, it's that would be the end. That not necessarily be true. COVID can be these days can be classified as well in the diagnostic. You can diagnose a COVID patient as having being a suspect, probable patient for COVID, or confirmed COVID. Symptoms might be mild, moderate, or severe. So the thing that we see on TV when DOH updates us that there's a rise in the number of COVID patients, those numbers are not necessarily would not necessarily translate to mortality. So as of yesterday, the government or our country as a whole kind of flipped the coin, no? On when it comes to recovery and death rates. No? We have more recovery rates now, recovery patients now than the death rates, no, of patients. No? So, but there's still, no, there still is a lot of mortalities as of yesterday. Uh, that would be the general feeling when you're in a hospital doing your rounds. So, of course, other than your concern, main concern about the patient's welfare, getting giving the proper medicine, proper supportive measures. Uh, but the sad part on the patient's end would be they cannot be with anybody else. They're this is what they say, no? They say about this illness, it's a very, very sad way to go because you cannot be with any relative, anybody close to you to watch over you or you're trying to heal yourself. Uh, yeah, it's a very, very sad way to go.
Yeah,
So,
I would agree when you just mentioned that because it's unusual because for us Filipinos typically we normally would have a long time of celebrating death, shall I say. Di ba, very common for us Filipinos that when someone dies, a family member, usually within 3 to 5 days, sometimes even 7 days, yung grieving part natin. So we normally are in a funeral parlor so that the friends,
okay,
colleague, families, and relatives can pay their last respects. Diba? In this very
okay.
scenario that is happening right now, it is very sad to hear of someone's passing, but to hear someone passing alone is more. I'd like to think it's sadder than what normally
Yeah,
happens because imagine after dying of this virus, COVID-19, I believe you are cremated within the next 24 hours.
yeah,
Is that right?
yeah, yeah. This is potential that the cadaver can pass it on. That's why people collecting the cadaver of the patient needs to wear the proper PPE as if their life, the patient is alive, or the cadaver is, you know, as if it's you're taking care of somebody living, because this is potential that you can have it still, even if this patient is already
So
gone.
just to be clear, if a patient passes, so to speak, and I don't want to use the word gone or die anymore. If a patient passes out of because of COVID-19, within the next 24 hours, even though this patient is already lifeless, he or she can still infect other people,
Yes,
right? Eh,
that's why it is required by the Department of Health that every
yes.
hospital has this leak-proof, sealed, body bags because can potentially, yes, potentially still harbor the virus. And then eventually, those taking care of the cadaver will be able to have the same illness.
Now, my next question would be, how long, in the event that a particular patient passes because of COVID-19, And if there are some challenges as to bringing them to the columbariums for cremation, how long will the patient be a potential carrier of the said virus?
Then let's just put it this way: the government would cannot or has already advised every hospital to take care of the cadaver, to take care of the one that
Mhm.
passed within the next 24 to 48 hours. No more. 48 hours would be too long. Uh, they need to be cremated as soon as possible.
All right. Okay. So at least we got that clear. Now I have a question. Um, as an infectious disease expert or a doctor that practices or handles infectious disease, how different is COVID from what you've encountered before?
Uh, Almost the same, but this one is quite, it's faster when you get to have it. Yeah?
Mhm.
It's more. I mean, I can't say deadly. The one that's deadlier would be SARS talaga. I've
So
been there also with SARS,
SARS is even
H1N1
deadlier.
also.
Would you even
Yeah,
say that SARS is even deadlier than the COVID-19?
yeah, yes.
Oh,
But as you can see now, no, it's the spread. It's faster. It spreads faster than what we had before. And
mhm.
the thing is, those things, especially with H1N1, when you had H1N1 before, after an infection, probably have the antibodies already.
Right.
You don't have to be vaccinated. But this one, this particular virus, we've heard reports that there've been reinfections, right? I think it happened in Singapore, and then it happened in Korea, uh, and even in China, in Wuhan. So this is the thing that makes it difficult. It doesn't. It's too early for us to tell whether we're going to have the antibodies for life or for a long period of time, or are we still vulnerable? And that's the question. Yes, of course. But during this particular virus, with this particular virus, we do advise the patients. Example, if they get to go home, survived it,
Right.
from a positive uh, COVID positive patient, after the treatment, they became negative. No, on their tests, we do advise them to have themselves quarantined for another 2 weeks still,
2 weeks
and then
again or 2 weeks at home?
2 weeks at home. 2 weeks at home.
Right.
The protocols would be the same as if you're in a hospital, but you're in your home setting, and then if you cannot have your swab or your RT-PCR done, the
Mhm.
government or the RESU, the regional office of the DOH, is the one responsible in doing the rapid testing this time. And if it turns out that your rapid testing has an IgG on it, you have a positive IgG, immunoglobulin G, then you can be, then the quarantine can be lifted. It means to say that you have it's good for you. You have the antibodies or protection for COVID-19. But the next question will be, how long does it last? So, because they've been having reports, there has been reports. I don't know if it's already been validated uh, abroad. But there's still reinfection of the same particular virus. In the
Right.
Philippines, I haven't really seen one. Haven't
Mhm.
really seen one, but we do see people who are persistently positive with COVID-19. But the good thing about these patients is that they're symptomatically asymptomatic. I'm sorry, they're asymptomatic. They don't have any symptoms. But on the other hand, they could still spread the virus, potentially spread the virus.
I think that's
If they be,
more scaring when they're asymptomatic because sometimes some people, like in some cases, I believe this is what happened in RITM, and there were some people who got themselves tested and they
yeah,
didn't really share that they were already asymptomatic. So if you think
correct.
about it, they basically have the virus already in their system and going there saying that you just simply want to be tested, I think that endangers the lives of again the person taking your performing your tests, tama, the doing the swab, right?
No, this is the reason why as healthcare workers, we want to be tested regularly. When we did our teleconferencing with Japan and Taiwan and China, Wuhan doctors, they advised us to do our screening test, no? At least every 3 weeks.
Right.
But because of the yeah, but because of the scarcity of our test kits, no, we're not able to do such thing. So we do uh, go to the idea of what you call this, being asymptomatic or symptomatic. If
Mhm.
you're symptomatic, you need to be quarantined for the next 14 days. If you
Right.
are moderately symptomatic, you need to be tested. And then if
When you
you're
when you
mildly symptomatic,
Doc, excuse me and pardon for my interrupting. When you say moderately asymptomatic, what are the criteria for you to be part of moderate? And what is the other one that you mentioned?
mild,
Mild. Okay, so
mild, moderate, severe,
difference
yeah.
between mild and the moderate. Can you basically go through it one by one, so at least our viewers and the people who are watching live and on replay would be able to know what is considered to be mild and what is considered to be moderate.
Well, okay. Moderate symptoms, mild symptoms would be like cough, colds, fever, and if you don't really have any comorbidities such as hypertension, diabetes, and you are less than 60 years old and non-vulnerable, you can actually be sent home, do a 2-week quarantine, and not you can be not tested. This is what the protocol of the OH is saying. And then when you do have moderate symptoms such as the above, mild symptoms with vulnerabilities, comorbidities, then you need to be tested. You know, if you're hypertensive, has suffered a heart attack, stroke, and then you're in the senior side, then you're a candidate to have yourself tested. Of course, obviously, for those who are severe, both moderate and severe
Mm-hmm.
infections would needs to be admitted in the hospital, obviously tested again to diagnose. As I mentioned earlier, uh, you either be a suspect, a probable COVID patient, or a confirmed patient, confirmed COVID patient.
Now, I have another question, Doc. In terms of mortality, why are some countries successful and others are not? What do you think they're doing differently?
Well, uh, it's if you look at it in a different perspective,
Mhm.
those countries who are denser in population, for example, what's happening in America,
Right.
their hospital tends to be overwhelmed. No? So you have your uh, number one would be your scarcity in your PPE. Okay.
Mhm.
So number two would be your scarcity if your hospital is overwhelmed, ventilators, medications, personnel, everything, all of these things come into play. But because of their technology, for example, in America, they do plasma work. You know, they do plasma transfusion, which actually in our country is being done. Studies is being done by the Philippine General Hospital, and it has a very high success rate. But the challenge would be the technology. It would be in our country would be the technology. Not all hospitals are equipped with uh, for plasma transfusion. We don't. Not every hospital has it. So it needs to be processed from those people who have successfully uh, passed through, I know, COVID, no, who was
Mm.
cured by COVID. Now, these are the candidates who can actually donate or give their plasma to somebody else for transfusion. So I think it's the technology, it's the dissemination of testing kits, availability of the testing kits. That's the main difference from us to compared to the other countries. In other
Mm.
countries, when they have, especially in the experience in China, they said these Chinese doctors told us, now you know what, we tried home quarantine and it doesn't really work.
Mm-hmm.
Why? We asked because of our being closely knit. We are Asians, right? We don't, I know, we have a very tightly knit family structure. So so what they did was they built this huge hospital quarantine area, and it was mandatory for people who were having mild or being
Mm-hmm.
even asymptomatic patients to stay in one particular ward, moderately ill, and then severely ill and critical ill in one another part of this hospital. So everybody was segregated, everybody was being monitored after being tested. The key here is to be tested, the testing, the
Right.
capacity to test. But in the Philippines, our setup would be like we do test accordingly, but in prioritization. For example, if this patient is moderately ill and is, again, we mentioned this particular profile who is more than 60 years old with comorbidities, we do
Mm-hmm.
test them uh, as soon as we can, you know, pending the scarcity of the availability of your testing kits. That's our challenge today.
Right, right. And I believe, I remember, I think if you were able to watch the discussion with Gene, who is handling a drugstore and a retail store in the United States, part of what he said was, and I'm quoting Gene on this, he mentioned that one of the reasons why I think it is why America is not reacting as fast as the way we are reacting to the virus is that he said America has this strong belief of invincibility. That, of course, they have been the superpower for so many centuries already. So that is, I think, one of the reasons why um, they were a little bit slow. Okay. Again, we are having a little bit of a technical difficulty. I think our internet or the internet there is very, very slow. There. Okay, good to good to see you back, Doc.
Sorry. The signal's
It's
really
okay.
bad.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I understand. I think one of your followers is also here. Diggs Quartz Felix is saying that ang pogi daw ni Daddy
Ah,
Odep.
no.
Safe always, Doc.
Uh,
And yes,
no, it's like,
one of your, I think, patients as well was able to see that I posted the webinar for the discussion for today. I believe this is a patient of yours in Manila East. Her name is Maria Lucia Chuponco Camacho, and she also mentioned, if I may say so, what she said was in the poster that Doc Odin is my doctor in Manila East. That's what she said. And please send my warmest regards to Dr. Joseph Macalla. He's my doctor in Manila East Medical Center. A very promising and bright doctor in his field. Take care, Doc, and mabuhay po
thank
kayo.
you.
Salute
Salamat.
to all of you, and I will share the page so that everyone will be informed. Good luck and stay safe. So that's one of your followers and patients as well,
Mhm.
Doc. So um, I have a question that is relatively bold, and I'm sure everyone who is watching or will be watching in replay would want to know. And of course, you can only give your opinion and basing it from what you currently are experiencing in the hospitals right now. How long do you think will it take for us to flatten the curve? I'm sure everyone would like.
Maybe, yeah. No, it's because there's been a lot of discussion regarding whether to lift the present ECQ, right,
Right.
or not. And it has its effect on our economy and so on and so forth,
Right.
right? So both things are heavy. Uh, but I think if we do lift the ECQ right now, it would be really very premature. No, we cannot be if we learn if we're gonna listen or if we're gonna learn from the lessons before.
Mhm.
Historically, especially with the Spanish flu, no, that would be the best, I think, sample
Mhm.
where we can compare ourselves where we're in right now.
Are you
So
referring to the one
they
that happened
did,
in 1918? Is this the one?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Historically, they actually flattened the curve early and then eventually prematurely lifted it, and then the second wave came in and then killed a lot of uh, people, no? During this time.
Right.
They did the right thing by practicing the lockdown, social distancing, which we are actually doing right now. We
Right.
need to be, we need to, I think, in my opinion, we need to, if you want to move forward, as what this show has been saying, or, we need to do our sacrifices now
Mhm.
and then look at our numbers. No, numbers don't lie. No? Uh, and then we'll take it
It
from
hasn't
there. No,
slowed down,
kasi
right? Our numbers hasn't slowed down, although the number of people recovering from the virus is now more than the number of people who are so unfortunate with the virus, right?
yes, yes. So that's a good, in a way, of course, for those people who have passed. We really feel bad for these patients, no. But on the flip side of things, no, those who recovered were really thankful for them, no, that they made it, no. So, but there's a lot of work ahead of us. So, as a country, we need to cooperate. We need to practice discipline, no. So it's not just hygiene. It's not just uh, social distancing is but doing the little things, no, being more cooperative to our uh, officials, no, because they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. It would seem that they're overwhelmed right now, but they're still kicking it. They're still laban lang, no. It's a lot of work for these doctors, and shout out nila and to those who are in the CESU central and regional offices of DOH. Because if you may know, and I may say that their responsibility does not stop on contact tracing. It does not stop there. It's after when these patients are cured or have recovered, they need to go there to this particular patient and retest them again.
So
Okay,
it's
so if you can
follow,
imagine that,
no? Follow through. Tama?
yeah, follow through lang. There's no way of saying when this is gonna be, but it's better that we do what we're doing right now. It seems to be working. To flatten the curve, I don't know. I
So
can't speculate on that.
as a doctor, there's no estimate that you can more or less give as to when we can flatten this curve. Safe to say that we are still uncertain at the moment.
Yeah, but it's it would boil down to the number of patients that turn up positive,
Mm-hmm.
uh, maybe on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, and then you can take it from there. No, it does not mean that you have a lot of positive patients, then it would translate to mortality, as I've said. No?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we've seen patients who are 19 years old, 17 years old, uh, asymptomatic, and then they just stay home, do home quarantine, and then when you retest them, they turn up to be negative.
Right.
So yeah,
So this
so
virus really is
the
very dangerous to
protocols
people who are at least 50 years
being
old
laid
and
in
above.
place or working, it's really working. Yeah. So those with comorbidities actually. So, we've seen patients who are young, who suffered a severe form of pneumonia from COVID. Our colleagues, some of them lately has been at least two of them or three of them have suffered the severe forms of pneumonia. Luckily, they recovered. No?
Mhm.
Again, it will boil out. It needs to. It is everybody's cooperation.
One question is that
Government, private sector.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When you go around, like today, you're done with your work, you went around the hospitals and check on your patients. What is your typical routine, doc? Like from the hospital, what do you do? What are the precautionary measures that you take before you go home to your house?
Well, of course, other than wearing those PPEs, no, you look like an astronaut going to somewhere. It's really tiring, but you need to do it. No? Those proper
Doc, I think your internet is really.
when I get home, I do wear shorts, so
Sorry,
everything, and then
sorry.
remove it.
Your internet was a little bit slow, so you were choppy. So the moment you're done, so of course you wear your PPE, go around your hospitals, your patients, you talk to them. Now, the moment you get into the car on your
Yeah,
way
sorry.
home, what exactly do you do? And that was the part that we lost. Okay. Yeah, see, so again, like what I said, technology really is a challenge at this time. Again, because everyone is logged in, everyone's on the internet. We're having a little bit of a difficulty as far as the stability or the signal of uh, internet in the location of Dr. Macalla. So we lost his video again. Now he's back. So Doc, please, at least more or
Hello.
less you heard. So when you're about to go home and you're done with your work, what are your precautionary measures that you take as a frontliner?
Yeah, of course you do wash your hands. Wash your hands. Leave everything in the hospital. Before I go inside the house, I remove everything. I placed everything, all of my shirt, my clothes, my shorts, shoes are outside, left outside, and then I put my clothes on a bucket with detergent, and then I go straight to the shower area, shower room, bathroom, take a bath, and that's been my usual practice.
Right. The good thing about that is that hearing you as a medical practitioner, a frontliner, basing on the conversations that I've had over the past several weeks with some of our guests, it is already a norm for us now what you do, even though we are not frontliners, but every time we go out of the house and do a little bit of errand, whether it's to buy food or supplies or utilities, we basically
Right.
act like frontliners. We act like you do. So when we go home, we do the same thing that you do. I guess this has been the new norm already, whether you're a frontliner or you are just a regular citizen,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
I think this is the new normal. I think, yeah, this is the new normal. Mm.
Right. So, um, do you think that the light at the end of the tunnel is happening soon, or
If
what are your thoughts on that?
if we're gonna have that vaccine, if we're going to have that vaccine, I think that's gonna be it. For us, it's gonna be not back to normal, but we will be learning from this episode a lot. But number one would be the vaccine. It's gonna help a lot, and
So,
then
in your knowledge, is currently the forefront as far as trying to develop the vaccine? Is it the Japanese people, or not unless you know more than we do?
I don't have any. Well, I've read. I've read also from certain articles. Johnson & Johnson has it. They say Israel has developed their own. Netherlands. Uh, I don't know who's to say. Up until this particular vaccine has been qualified or pre-qualified by the WHO, then we'll see.
I think the
I think
only uh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think the vaccine is if the earliest would be like September, October this year, or maybe early 2021.
Yeah,
That's a
maybe
rough estimate.
towards the last quarter of the year, if ever a vaccine will be finally developed, right?
Yeah,
Of course, they
I
would
think that's
need time. Yeah, that's safe to say, I think.
yeah. They need to do a lot of testing before passing this vaccine. Oh,
Right. One of our watchers, who is a common friend, a classmate of ours, he also made a comment and he said that I think it is also important to have a foot bath for our shoes and probably use one set of shoes for this COVID period. Again,
sure.
thank you very much, Alan, for that. As a matter of fact, I also practice that. I also, of course, I use my ever reliable topsider. I'm sure Doc Joseph is also familiar with that, our ever reliable Sperry outsider. So I just, after going out, I spray alcohol and Lysol. I put it in the trunk of the car. I don't bring it inside the house. And I've also done a foot bath. But of course, we are not like the foot bath in the piers. After a while, it dries up outside your house.
Yeah, you need to have that. In our place where we live, we do have it. And then
Mhm.
before we enter the elevator, we do have some hand sanitizers. You oftenly wash your hands and try to avoid touching your face.
Right. And what they say now, when you wash your hand, you're going to have to wash it, like the right way of washing it. And then what
Yeah,
they say is you have to sing happy birthday so that more or less it's to make sure that it is at least 20 seconds.
yeah, 20 seconds. Soap and
That's
water,
the
20 seconds. Yeah,
it has to be at least 20 seconds, right? So sabi nga nila yun, you just sing happy birthday. Huwag ka lang
happy
kumanta ng
birthday.
happy birthday very fast, di ba?
Yeah.
All right. So, uh, any not parting words, but what are your tips for and I'm sure people out there have listened to this question so many times, but what do you think, or what can you give as tip to us regular people, not frontliners? What are the tips that you can give us?
Yeah, if you're out and if you really need to be out, practice self-distance, no? Social distancing, then wear your mask properly, uh, and then try to avoid crowded places, really. No? And fourthly, often wash your hands. If you do have your alcohol with you, hand sanitizers, as often as you can, wash it. Wash your hands. And when you arrive home, if you went to your groceries, uh, some would say that you need to wipe down all of the things that you bought. Kind of makes sense because you don't know who sneezed or you know, and then sneeze on a particular product. Always assume that these products have been tainted, no, uh, by somebody who aerosolized, no, either sneezing or just yawning, merely yawning.
So merely
Uh,
one is dangerous as well.
yeah, it's just as if you're sneezing it. No, maybe the distance won't be that far, but if
Mm.
somebody who's asymptomatic and then turned out to be positive, would
Mm.
essentially possibly contaminate these things, the things that
Right.
you've been buying. You can also use your gloves if you're going to the
Right.
grocery. Get rid of it properly, of course, no, that just lying around the floor. Uh, And as much as you can, take a bath. There's no overdose in taking a bath.
Right. Really, again, taking a bath is not really something that is that is not hard to do. So really, what just people need to do is just they just have to
Anyway, it's
take.
summer. It's summer.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the funny part, Doc. If you really think about it, what does summer mean now?
Really a sad one. A very
Right.
sad one. A quiet one. A very
Right.
quiet one.
The season in the United States, they have four seasons, right? Winter, spring, summer, and fall. As per here, it's normally rainy season and summer season. In summer season, normally this is the time where people enjoy the outdoors. But nowadays, it's a reverse of what we normally expect, which is to be able to go outside and enjoy outdoors. But this time, really, times have changed. When you ask what summer is, I won't even know how to answer. Are you referring to the 2019 summer or the 2020? Because 2020 summer, we skip summer, right? Right after the first quarter of the year, we just, stayed at home and we're going to go through the third and fourth quarter already. Okay.
Exactly. So, but we're
But
hopeful. No?
yes.
We're hopeful that these things going to dissipate, and hopefully, with a lot of prayers, also of course, and
Mhm.
cooperation, no? uh, we'll make it. We'll make it.
Right, we have a question. I think if you can see in our screen from Alan again, our friend from Davao. Are we, the world, going to ever go back to our normal life, normal time before COVID, or is it new normals? Is this going to stay, or moving forward, will this be the new norm now?
I think it would be the latter. And I think it's going to be the new normal up until this vaccine is out. But of course, we cannot really rely on it lang, So as far as what we're experiencing right now, it teaches us the value of hygiene. It teaches us the value of cooperation. It also teaches us the value of being, what you call this, uh, being responsible in our actions. No? Meaning, if we do feel sick, we need
Mhm.
to tell the authorities and not be afraid, to go into quarantine. No? So that's to avoid any clustering in your community. Hindi ka naman damay ng ibang tao. It's a social responsibility really, for this to stop. The main reason, by the way, for the social distancing is
Mhm.
we've read articles already that sure it lives when it goes to your surface, metal, plastic, cardboard, it lives on a particular number of hours, right? And then it dies. So
Right.
if you're socially distanced, and then the quarantine continues, there's no host for this virus to attach itself to. It acts like a parasite. No
Right.
host. Dead virus. Dead virus, no pandemic. Simple. Ganun lang siya kasimple. So this is the rationale behind ECQ. Okay? The rationale behind ECQ itself is if there's no host for the virus to attach itself, if you're quarantined,
Mhm.
and then
Right.
everybody in the home is healthy, you know, uh, there's no visitor or anybody who's uh, at high risk in getting COVID. If there's no host, there's no virus. It dies on its own. It may
Right.
live on certain surfaces for certain hours. It may even be aerosolized for a number of hours. Aerosolized goes down to the surface. If nobody touches the surface, if everybody cleans the surfaces, it
Mhm.
dies. Nobody's vulnerable. Okay. If there's no host, there's no virus.
Right. One of the things that we suddenly experience with this virus, and this virus is a game changer if you think about it, because it's non-hierarchical, meaning whether you're rich or you're poor, you're young or old, no one is exempted from this virus. So
It is what an equalizer.
yeah, it's an equalizer. Everyone can get it. Anyone can get it, rich or poor. And judging from what we have seen in on the news, whether it's a person who is known or somebody who famous, we realize that again, it's an equalizer. Anybody can get it. No one is exempted from this virus. And one of the things that I've always said in all the discussions that we've had over the show for the past weeks is that there's only this virus is telling us one thing, and it's telling us to remain indoors, right? Do not fight me. That's what the virus is saying. Do not challenge me, but just simply remain indoors. When everyone is indoor, just like what you said, after so many hours, when it's exposed in metal, in cement, or wherever, it'll eventually die anyway, right? So the only thing that we can control, obviously we cannot control the virus, but what we can control is ourselves. But let's control ourselves from leaving the house or the office or where you're indoors, so to speak. Do not go out unless it is really necessary. That's the
Necessary.
only
Yeah.
thing we can control, right?
Yes.
Again, we've actually uh, we are at the end of our discussion. By the way, another doctor, our good friend, Bimbo Gabor, is also watching. So Alin De Vera is also greeting one of our friends who is also another batchmate from Ateneo and who also happens to be another doctor. Um, really, let us all cooperate with this virus. Let us all let us not be defiant and be compliant, right? Let us follow
Yes.
what the government is saying. Uh, Again, hearing from a actual practicing frontliner, your insights and your comments and your thoughts are very, very priceless at this particular time because we really need to sometimes hear it from the doctor's mouth, so to speak, instead of saying the word horses. We really need to hear it from our doctor. Not right. Aside from that, before we end the discussion, Doc, any important words as a doctor who is seeing the virus firsthand, seeing the effects of the virus and trying to prolong and somehow treat the people who are currently affected with this virus. Any few words or last words from Dr. Joseph Macalla?
Yeah. The key here with this kind of virus would be prevention.
Mhm.
An ounce of it would really be would come a long way. No? So let's not put ourselves in harm's way. No? Prevention is the best medicine. No? So prevention by uh, being disciplined enough, follow rules, follow what's being laid before us. It's for our own good. Now stay home, save lives nga daw eh, di ba? So, yeah, prevention pa din is the key to this particular virus. You don't want to have it. Believe me,
Mhm.
it's really, really, it's other than being physically uh, challenging for these patients. Psychologically, it burns them
Mhm.
10 times over. You know? Because they're with nobody. They're with some stranger who's taking care of them, making sure that they survive it. Okay.
Right.
So let's not go to that point already. It's prevention. It's prevention.
All right. Again, we would like to thank you, Dr. Joseph Macalla, and for our viewers and listeners. So we had several viewers, a lot of which are friends from Ateneo de Davao. Allen, I think Randy Pedres was also online. Doc Bimbo Gabor was also online. Some of the followers of Doc Ote was also online. Jean Ochanko was also watching us. Um, to the frontliners, to you, Dr. Joseph Macalla, I say to you, please take care of yourself because we need more people like you in the front lines battling this virus that we are facing. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and continue to somehow uh, put a little bit of smile to the faces of your patients because I know they are going through a very tough time. Like what you said, they're in the hospital, sick, alone, being taken care by some people who sometimes they don't know because of the shifting of doctors. And sometimes even if they know you, because of the PPE that you guys are wearing, you guys seem very impersonal, right? And I mean, if I was a patient and I would see a person taking care of me who looks like a ninja, I would be scared because that means it is something very serious. So again,
Yeah,
reiterate,
you're right. You're
I
right. Ninja.
we, we salute you. We pray for you and please take care of yourself, Dr. Joseph Macalla. Ingat lagi by, in our language or in our dialect, amping by,
Salamat.
we would still want to have a cold one once this is over. But the question is, when this is going to happen, we don't know yet. But just like what you said, and what I agreed on what you said, let us all follow the rules. Let us follow the tips that are given to us. And again, stay at home. Tama po
Yeah.
ba?
Stay home. Yes po.
All right.
Stay home. Stay alive. Mhm.
Doc, Otep, would you like to say hi to some people? I think Anna is watching, your kids are watching. Please say
Oh,
hi to
yeah.
them.
Well, hello. I'll be home soon. No, but
Right.
yeah, this is for our family. No? This is for our family. Let's take care of it. Frontliner or not, as a human being, but we need to take care of ourselves. If we love our family, if we love people, we don't have, we shouldn't be sick because otherwise they become sick as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. Again, thank you. God bless. And ingat po, Doc Joseph Macalla. Thank you very much, guys. And see you guys next week. We'll be talking about cybersecurity. Hopefully by then, my co-host, George Ramos, will be online. And we will have a cybersecurity expert during the time of work from home scenario here during the crisis time. Thank you again and have a nice day. Stay safe, everyone. Stay home. Bye,
Bye.
Doc.
Bye.
Ganda na lang.